So, I have reached a conclusion after watching season 19, episode 25, that for the first time since I've been reporting on the show and writing recaps of these episodes, I'm not gonna play any clips because it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right to play clips from that episode because there was a lot that went on in that episode that I was, as gorgeous as it was, that they said goodbye to him and laid him to rest. It was terribly invasive, and I believe that I don't want to propagate that even further. That TL that's on the TLC, they had a graveside ceremony, and it was shown on TLC, and they buried his urn in the ground, and it was so intimate and so painful to watch. But I wanted to just touch on a couple things from the episode beyond that portion of the episode, because that part of the episode was like the middle of it. There was some before they left for the cemetery, and then there was some after, and I just wanted to kind of expound on what I was seeing about this. And very early in the episode, it was clear that Janelle and Christine were with some of their children. Not all of the children were present for all parts of it. McKelty and Tony were not present at all. I think that this happened to coincide when they were relocating to North Carolina. So that is something that could have been the cause. So McKelty and Tony weren't present at all. And from what I could tell, the other siblings were present. Logan was on camera, but did not say anything. Hunter was present, but he wasn't in any of the episode clips where they went fishing. Same as Logan. They really didn't have them in any of that. Gabriel was there. All of Christine's children, except for McKelly, were there. And then Leon and Audrey were there. So all of the siblings, but except for McKelty. And, of course, Garrison was not present because it was his funeral. And then Mary was there. But Mary was not with them, did not stay with Janelle and Christine. And Mary was not there for the filming when they did the filming with even Leon. So I don't know if Mary just wasn't welcome. And she wasn't invited to do that kind of stuff just because they're not close. And Leon opted to be with their siblings, and that there was stuff that Leon did with Mary off camera, but Leon was in the filming with their siblings. So it was actually really nice to see Leon with Audrey, and they actually seemed really genuinely shocked by all of this. So it was, obviously apparent in this episode that Garrison's death didn't bring about any reconciliation with Kody whatever, most especially when the adult offspring were present with Christine and Janelle, and even at the cemetery, none of the two parties spoke to each other. So when they actually were eyeball to eyeball, Kody was on one side with Robyn and her children, excluding Dayton, and then on the other side, it was like everyone else. Honestly, it was like Kody and Robyn on one side and everyone else on another side, and there was no seeing interacting between the two sides. They kept their distances. There was a very obvious disconnect between them. There was a very obvious not interested in communicating between them, and there was an obvious no reconciliation happened. Okay? And Janelle did say that this death has been a good reminder to the siblings. And when she mentions siblings, she is talking about the children with her Christine and Mary, and how those children have all worked, at least some of them, to mend some of the fences, some of the wounds between them, settle some of their disputes, reconnect more and talk more, and be together more, and they check in more, and they have more conversations with one another. It's brought just sort of like a glue with them again, where they're just sort of reminded of what's important. It's made them stronger in their relationships, and it's also made them willing to sort of put aside their differences between all of the kids minus Robyn's kids, that never there was no conversation whatsoever between Robyn's kids and the kids that the OG3's original kids. So there's this like obvious distance. There's all these different competing storylines, and I do believe that this episode was handled much better in that there was so much more of Janelle and Christine and their kids, those who were actually impacted by it, those who remained in close communication with Garrison. I felt that there was more time given for them to share their thoughts and feelings and to talk and to share their memories. There was room for Christine and to Janelle to kind of discuss through, their own pain and their own battle with all of this. And it was nice to see. Although it did seem very intrusive and quite exploitative, it was just nice to see that Christine and Janelle could be there for each other. And I think what I've learned strangely about this is that I had a lot of questions about David, Christine's husband. Initially, I had these questions about his history. And like, was he in this for the good reasons? Is he a good man, really? And he is just like the solidest man ever. Everyone likes him. He's like a rock for Christine. He looks like he's a rock for her children. He and Truly obviously have a wonderful relationship, and he just fits in like so well with the family. It's like he was always ever meant to be there. So I'm just glad that Christine has such a good SP partner in this. So I believe that part of this appears to have been perhaps the most, it shouldn't surprise me, but it's been the most, I'm just glad. Christine again has a good partner. I mean, I'm glad that she found the love that she wants. I'm glad that when she's gone through something like this, she has people that she can count on. And then with Janelle, it was just so obvious that her boys are just kind of gravitating around her and protecting her and supporting her and like just trying to take care of her. Even though they are grieving too, it's just obvious that her boys are leaning toward her and supporting her. So I'm glad that she has that too. There was nothing actually between Janelle and Kody where they had on-camera discussion or dialogue, only at the cemetery location when she gave him the urn and he put it in the ground. But even during the funeral, they sat on opposite sides. They talked at totally different times. They were so split up. And I saw that when Kody was talking about Garrison, some of the siblings were not even looking at him. They were being kind of looking down almost, just not even cared about what he was saying. It pretty much felt like they kind of looked at like it was actually performative. So there was that. I would have rather not have seen him being buried. Honestly, I don't think I had to see that. But something at the end sort of piqued my interest, and it's something that I've been told by other people that they know. It's that Madison sitting with Leon, and she said like, I feel bad for Kody, but I really feel bad for Kody's kids. She did not even mention Robyn's name. It was very obvious that like a lot of the issues with Kody clearly have to do with the way he treated them. Most of their issues are with Kody, but then they'll say Kody's name, but they won't say Robyn's name. So they don't call them their siblings. So Maddie was like, if I could speak to Robyn's kids, I would say to them that I'm sorry if I ever hurt you. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel bad. I didn't think that I didn't mean to ever make you feel this way. And Leon made a comment and said, I just wish I could communicate with them. And I thought, gosh, that is so odd, right? What has Kody and Robyn done to those children to poison them so much against all of the other kids in this family? Why are the two sets of siblings so divided against each other? I understand there's this whole the haves and the have-nots, those that are like Kody and Robyn who believe that they're better than everybody, and Janelle and Christine and Mary and their kids on the other side of the spectrum. And that was all sort of obvious, just in the manner Robyn and Kody came to the graveside, where they were all like dressed up and looked very dapper, and then lots on the other side, where Janelle and Christine and the kids they were there more informally, paying respects, the informality of Garrison. So it also felt like that type of contrast, like they're all dressed up so much, like they're going to church, and the other half was more casual. That was just another sighting I had. But what if they informed them that it's so impossible for them even to be able to speak to them, that they can't even shout out to them to speak because it's being dictated and controlled through Robyn and Kody? These are adults that they obviously could have a talk with. And I understand that if your siblings have you blocked, and if your siblings don't wish to talk to you, that's fine. You fully should be respecting boundaries. But in this case, I feel like all of the sibling drama is because of what Kody and Robyn have said and done to poison them against those children. And I sort of think a lot of that is because they don't want the kids to all talk and have an opportunity to correct things and see the reality about who was the one that was putting things into our heads about them, because it was really Robyn that is constantly giving the message and the implication of what she believes people think about her, and she's the one that felt traumatized and spurned, right, by the other OG3 children, and she placed that on her children. They don't like me, so they don't get to have a relationship with them, right? And obviously, the OG3 children struggled to adjust, and they did it all on television, which was a terrible idea when they blended the families, and Kody then simply ran off into the sunset with Robyn and the children. I mean, that's basically what he did. There's years and years and years of anger and in frustration. But the thing is that even at the funeral, they couldn't even talk. Even at the funeral, they didn't communicate. Even at the funeral, Kody didn't even interact with any of his children that weren't Robyn's children, he only talked to Robyn's children. He didn't talk to any of his other children. So when I think of it like that, it's like you don't even speak to your other children, the siblings, the immediate siblings that include Garrison, and then you're present making this whole stink about Garrison when you don't even know his brothers and sisters. I felt this is weird. If you're a parent, how do you not go to the other extreme and be like, I'm sorry I did wrong? How do you not attempt to make it right? How do you not admit you were wrong? How do you not recognize that you could have done things differently? How do you still in death not find a way to make things right? And so when they talk of Makilia said that they acted in ways throughout this process that made her pull away from them, I believe this is what they're talking about. It's like they don't care about the other kids. This is all being done for television. And when they have an opportunity to spend time with those children in person, there's no conversation. And I know most of the kids don't have any interest in him, and that I get, but not even an attempt. It was just insane. I did notice that Logan went up to Robyn and the kids, Brianna Aurora, and hugged them at the cemetery and gravesite service. That was the only one that really saw interacting, that crossed over. But that's Logan. Logan is the peacekeeper of this family. So, in the course of the service, Tim, who is Kody's sister's husband and the ranch owner, delivered a eulogy of sorts, but more a sermon, I think, and he addressed right to the grief of a mother and accepting the loss of a child and the power of discovering things apart from each other to mend fences. I felt as though his message was relevant and spoken with empathy, given what's happened in this family. I found it odd that he put Kody on trial, and he said, no one will understand the remorse of a father or a father's remorse in regard to the death of Garrison. And I don't know if Kody requested him to put that in. I don't know if that was mentioned because Tim wants the other children to see that Kody regrets what happened and feels guilty about what he's done and how he created all of this estrangement and what he said about Garrison in public fashion. But I think something else could have been said at the service. That was my one place where I just didn't need to find out, that I didn't need to hear about Kody being guilty, because none of his behavior with his other children indicated that he had guilt. That was my take. TLC did a job better with this episode, overwhelmingly, and Robyn was pretty much non-existent for the episode, and she didn't seem to care about Garrison. It was mostly Kody brought his boy home, not we brought our son to unwind, which if you're ever going to be a stepmom, Robyn, you can start treating Kody's children as your children as well. But what do I know? So tell me what your take is about this episode. Were you moved? Were you uncomfortable? And what do you think about this ongoing chasm in the family? Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to reply with a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and press the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys.